focus. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Hey, what's happening? How y'all doing? Welcome to Black Focus Radio, the third Thursday edition.
The third day? What you getting ready to
On the third day, I'm going to smack the hell out of you.
On the third day? That's what's up. That's what's up.
How y'all doing? It's a weird day. It was like 41 degrees yesterday, but it's colder today. I mean, that's like really weird to me, And I'm kind of tired of this cold weather. I need some snow, dog. Okay? I'm just going to let you know. So, while y'all on bended knee, hoping that you get a Valentine's gift, pray for snow. Okay?
A bunch of snow.
A little of that white stuff. No, not a little bit of it. A lot of it. About 10, 12 inches. You know what's snowy in? You know what I'm saying? Y'all mind? Welcome to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. You can catch us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Download the Joynet Radio app so you can carry us everywhere you go. And then, of course, if you miss any of the show, make sure you check out the podcast on any of your platforms. It doesn't matter which one. Just search Black Focus Radio and we'll be there. So that way you can fast forward or rewind or do whatever you want to do with the podcast. You can cuss at Robert, all of that stuff.
Please
you know
do.
what I'm saying?
Please do. I need that today.
He'd like that. So
I need that today.
Also, you can call us at 855-525-5683. Today we're expecting Judge Vic Fleming. This was Robert's guest.
Well, we had Peggy on. We couldn't have Peggy on without having him on.
Oh, I don't mind at all.
But he's probably not going to show up.
Why would you think he wouldn't show? I put him in the tease. He better show.
He only said he's going to be here at 1:30. So you say you're going to be here at 1:30. You know the show's over at 2. He'll probably get here at 10 minutes till.
Dibs are he's going to be late.
Oh, yeah.
That way you can ask him like one question.
I'm going to give him an invitation.
Watch what happens. We'll see. We'll see.
But it's okay, though, because that means tomorrow we can just talk about it. We can talk bad about it.
Well, yeah, that too.
I'm just kidding.
But no,
we would never talk bad about a traffic judge because we're always in traffic court.
I'm not.
I was in traffic court.
I don't.
I sat in his court. Me and Russ sat in his court for what, 2 days?
I like mail my tickets in.
You mail yours in?
Yeah.
Stop, man. Stop.
What?
Why are you taking shots at folks, man?
What?
Jesus. No, stop.
What? Man, I ain't got time to be running down there. I just mail it in.
You get it like that?
Yeah.
Like that big
Well, you don't see me sitting up in them courts.
Hey,
honestly, it ain't like. No, I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten one traffic ticket probably in the last 20 years, and it was an accident that, was one of those things where they couldn't decide who caused it. So I ended up getting the ticket, and so did he. But other than that, I just don't get tickets, and here's why. You might as well open.
Are you white when you're driving?
Well, I have the white man tint, whereas when I roll my window up, there's an image of a white guy.
Oh yeah,
that's why I don't get tickets.
That explains it.
But no, I just don't get them, and the reason being is you might as well roll your window down, open up your wallet, and just throw that cash out the window. That's what tickets are to me. So I try to do my best. I don't speed. Well, I do speed, but I try to be judicious in my speeding. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So
judicious in your speeding.
That makes
a lot of sense.
So I just there's
So we'll get to see if Judge Fleming shows up, man.
Okay, we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let me quickly read the teas, and then we'll do black facts. I think you'll like. I was gonna do another black fact, and it was kind of depressing, and I'm probably gonna do it tomorrow. But
You're gonna depress us on Friday, really,
Yeah,
Dave?
yeah,
Why don't you wait till Monday?
No,
when everybody's already depressed.
No, I'd rather do it on Friday.
Jesus.
Get you prepared for the weekend. But here's the tease for today. Bomb threats, school threats, and flu. Oh my. I'm convinced people just don't like to be lied to. More blooming contradictions from you-know-who. We're expecting Judge Vic Fleming today. And what questions do you have for him? Of course, you can call the number and ask questions if you want, or you can email them or send them to us via one of the whatever medium that you're listening to the show on. And the king does it again, and some of you are mad. More kudos to His Highness.
Who is your highness?
The king.
What king?
LeBron.
Oh, King James. What does he do then?
Well, if I told you now, then it wouldn't be part of the show.
It would mess up the teas.
Exactly. You know, this is called, you know.
I can't get no inside information. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you've got that thing called the computer right there beside you.
You mean my phone?
Yeah, whatever you want to call
my
it.
phone be a pewter, Dave?
Okay. Well, does it have a processor in it?
I don't know.
Yes, it does.
I'm not tech
Does
savvy.
it have RAM in it? Yes, it does.
I'm not tech savvy.
And does it have storage in it? Yes, it does. Then you know what it is? Oh, it also has a video screen, but it doesn't need a video screen in order to be a computer. So with all those three components, RAM, hard drive or storage, and processor, you have a computer.
Okay, Dave. Thank you for computer processors 101.
Yeah, sure. I like to, you know, educate people whenever I can. Let's do black facts.
Our culture, our history, our
No, you're sick. Oh, we still on the air.
So see what you call me? See, when I use the word,
I didn't mean to call you.
Yeah, you did.
I apologize.
Yeah, you did.
I apologize.
When I use the word,
I did not mean to call you
you make
and I called
you
you
have
in
a
a
you have
funny
a
way.
Oh, you have a cow.
In
You have
a
a
funny
cow,
way.
man.
In a funny
but no,
way, Dave.
but
That
no,
was not
no,
ignorant as in
no.
you're
You're
ignorant
not.
or
No,
unintelligent
you're not
or
supposed to use the
uninformed.
word. No,
Okay.
no, not you, Mr. Bourgeoisie, Robert Webb. I just don't think you should use that word. And then there you
I said I
go.
don't think you should use the word when talking about black folks.
Okay. Oh. Okay. That's all
And
right.
I didn't. That's why I said
That's
that.
all right.
I called you ignorant as in, man, that is funny, Dave. But you're right. I got to stop doing that, Dave. You are correct. I apologize, sir. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
Please accept my apology.
Yeah. So this black fact is going to deal with black movies. Okay, and I thought this was interesting. And this is actually, what are some of your favorite old movies?
Man, I got a ton of them.
Okay.
Anything by James Cagney.
Okay.
Anything
No,
by-
black movies.
Oh, black movies.
Black movies.
Okay. Man, Shaft, of course.
Okay.
Um,
Now, before you keep going, let me tell you. Let me give you the title.
the Cosby movies. Anything by Cosby and Sidney Poitier. Anything by Harry Belafonte.
15 great movies for families to watch in honor
Carmen
of.
Jones one of them?
Listen. 15 great movies for families to watch in honor of Black History Month. So, what are some of yours? I'm gonna tell you one that is a all-time classic. That's not on this.
Carmen Jones.
Carmen Jones.
Soldier Story.
Soldier Story, yeah. Not on this list.
Not on
Excellent
the list?
choice.
Okay. Raising the Sun, without a doubt. What else?
Excellent movie, by the
Yeah,
way.
it is. Sidney Poitier did his thing.
Lorraine Hansberry.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of what would be considered a black movie. Do we consider a black movie just because
That has basically a black lead.
just a black lead? Okay,
Yeah.
that does it then. Okay, so Soldier Story. Of course, my favorite movie, Imitation of Life.
Oh, good. Yeah.
That one. Of course.
Excellent movie.
Let me see what else I got.
So okay, so that brings up let me get a pencil and paper because this list was compiled, and let me see, Sunja Haller or Haler. You keep going. Okay, I just needed to look and see So this list came out of the USA Today. Here are 15 black movies for families to watch during Black History Month. And I just clicked on the author just because I was curious
Of who the author was?
what color the author was.
Okay, so I already know what
Okay.
All right.
I was curious.
Okay, so Imitation of Life, of course. Soldier Story. I really love Carmen Jones. Man, I almost.
So we're going to compile our 15. Okay, you said Imitation of Life.
Imitation of Life, Soldier Story, Carmen Jones. I want to put all of City Portier's movies in there, but my favorite is To Sir with Love.
Carmen Jones.
Yes, To Sir with Love. I gotta say,
Any others?
Uptown Friday.
Uptime Saturday Night.
Uptown Saturday Night. And what was the other one they did? Bill Cosby and City Portier.
I've forgotten.
Yeah. Now, this one, this Richard Pryor movie, I loved it. I still love this movie.
Which? To me, if you say this is an all-time favorite. Best Richard Pryor movie ever did.
Hold on. I can't.
Yeah, and if you don't say it, then you don't know Richard Pryor.
You wait a minute, Jesus. I'm trying to get my thought process.
Now he did some great ones.
He did some good ones. Jesus. Can't even think of it. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to Richard Pryor. Eddie Murphy, the one movie I love is Another 48 Hours, my all-time favorite.
Another 48 hours.
48 Hours or Another, and you got to add Beverly Hills Cop in there.
Okay.
All time you said black.
Now these are black movies that you share with your family doing Philadelphia. That's
Glory.
Denzel. Okay.
Philadelphia and Glory. Yeah, gotta have Philadelphia and Glory. Morgan Freeman, Along Came a Spider. Let's see.
You did say Soldier Story too.
I did say Soldier Story already. The movie I can watch all day, every day, 600 times. 600 times in a row, without fail. I can watch it over and over. I can just let it play.
Black Panther.
I can just let it play.
Black Panther.
No. Why does it mean Black Panther? You said old movie. That's not an old movie.
No, I didn't say old movie. I just said 15 movies.
Oh, 15 movies. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you all the olds. Okay. Yeah, I guess Black Panther would be one. You can put Black Panther down. Yeah.
You better put Black Panther down. I'm just saying.
My all-time favorite movie that I can watch over and over and over and over again.
Let me see how many you got on there.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali.
Which one? With Will Smith or the original with the greatest?
Both of them.
Okay.
Pick one.
Ali and the greatest. I'm sorry, but the greatest is the better of the two.
And the movie that I watch, and every time I watch it, I cry, Poetic Justice. I'm trying to think.
You got one more.
One more.
You listed 14.
Okay. Another. I forgot. I love Denzel, by the way. Another. This movie is my all-time favorite of all movies I watch.
Which one?
John Q.
John Q.
With Denzel. That is my that movie. That movie. It's only 3 movies that make me cry: Poetic Justice, John Q, and Imitation of Life. Those are the only 3 movies that make me cry. John Q makes me cry like a little girl. I'm crying like a little girl. I shouldn't say that. I'm not being insensitive. I'm not being misogynist, but it makes me cry like a 3-year-old girl. It does. I love that movie.
Oh, okay.
All right, what's on that list?
Okay, so I'll give you my 15 afterwards.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. But here's their list.
Okay, let's get their list.
Okay. The first one is To Kill a Mockingbird.
That was a good one.
Excellent movie. Excellent movie.
Having me on, it was great.
The second one is Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures was good.
Yeah. A Ballerina's Tale.
Never seen it, never heard
That is the documentary about Misty Copeland. I'd like to see that. I have not seen that.
Okay.
Lee Daniels, The Butler. I have not seen that. And
I've
didn't
seen
it
that.
win some Academy Awards?
It did.
I believe. But I have not seen that.
It was good. That was good, but it's not. It was good. It was okay
Okay.
for me.
Sidney Poitier, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Okay. Number 6 on this list is 42. You know what that's about,
Yeah.
right? By the way, if you all don't know what that is, that's about Jackie Robinson breaking the Major League Baseball race barrier. The Help, never saw it.
I saw it. Okay.
Okay. Remember the Titans.
Yeah, I told you anything that Zell already said.
Okay. Selma, that's
Okay.
number 9. A Raisin in the Sun.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list. Hairspray.
Who?
Hairspray, that's an
Who
old.
was Black in Hairspray?
They redid it in 2000.
Oh, you talking about the one that
2007.
they had? Okay.
Okay.
Did they put Chicago in there then?
No.
Okay.
Dancing in the Light, the Janet Collins story.
And that is who?
Janet Collins, and let me just read this to you because I didn't know this until I read this. The prestigious Ballet Russe wants Janet Collins to dance for them in the 1930s, but they want her to paint her skin white. This true animated short movie talks about the determination that led Collins to become the first African American ballerina to perform at the Metropolitan Opera House for ages 5 and older. So this is on Netflix, by the way. I'm going to go out and watch this.
Yeah. I need
So this happened in the 1930s. Didn't even know that happened to her. The next one is Loving. Are you familiar with that?
The Lovings, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch that either.
I watched it. It was okay.
I
It was
watched
okay.
it. Number 14 is March On, the Day My Brother Martin Changed the World. That is actually a Scholastic book DVD. And then the last one is The Journey of Henry Box Brown.
Okay.
Okay.
Right along, Dave.
You know who Henry Box Brown is, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Those of you who don't know, Henry Box Brown actually mailed himself to freedom. Now, those, by the way, I didn't tell you the color of the author of this list purposely. She's white. So, in my opinion, although there are 1 or 2 on this list, but to be totally honest, a white
Did
woman.
she give you a synopsis of why she chose that?
Let me go here and see.
Or did she just say these?
Well, let me just read her quick graph. Hollywood doesn't always get history right, but it has given us some exceptional movies that deal with racial prejudice and civil rights. If you're a fan of films, you can celebrate Black History Month by watching these movies that depict the lives of African American heroes and the ongoing quest for greater human decency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that was her premise. Her name is Sonia Hayler, and all of these movies are credible. Don't get me wrong, but these are not necessarily the 15 that I would choose. Now, I will tell you that I would do To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, I would add that to my list.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
And A Time to Kill.
Oh yeah, Kill a Mockingbird. I'm just writing my list down. Okay.
Yeah.
And then A Time to Kill,
A Time
which
to
is
Kill.
what's going to be on my list.
Yeah. Can't keep helping you.
Rosewood, by the way.
Rosewood, yeah. I forgot about Rosewood. But you said favorite though, so.
These are my favorites.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see what else is on this list that I would. Hidden Figures is okay, but
I wouldn't have it on my list. Yeah.
it wouldn't necessarily be on my list.
42 would not be on
Okay,
my list.
42 would not be on my list. Neither would The Help. Neither would Remember the Titans. The Greatest, that's on your list.
Yeah.
That's not on her list.
No.
Okay. Okay. The Greatest would be one of them. Let me see. Someone's sending me a text here.
Is that Judge Fleming saying he can't make it?
No, he has your number, man. You got all the big wigs. So.
Whatever, dude. That's you. That's you.
Okay, Selma was the other one. Let's see, I did The Greatest. The Greatest made me cry. A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry.
Without a doubt.
Malcolm X, you have that on your list.
Oh yeah, you can't do it without Malcolm X.
Okay. Do the Right Thing.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Spike Lee had a bunch of good ones, man.
School Days.
School Days, yeah. I give all Spike's credit, and my man John Singleton. Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Don't be. This is my list.
Okay, I'm not gonna give you no more.
You ain't giving me one. These are the ones I was gonna name anyway.
Yeah,
Let me see if there's any more on her list that I would use. No. That's it.
That's
Okay.
what
Here are a couple of more.
Okay, here you go. Let's go. What you got?
Cooley High.
Cooley High, yeah. Cooley High, definitely.
Cornbread Early.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a good one. Cornbread Early Me is what Claudine?
Hang on a minute. Let me see how many I got first.
I think you got 10.
And me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, 11. Okay.
Okay, so what are some others that I would? You talked about Denzel Washington, and what was the name of the movie with he and John Lithgow? I would surmise that is the other than Malcolm X, that is the best movie he has ever done.
No, the best movie he ever did, in my opinion, the best one he ever did.
What is that?
Was Malcolm X. Malcolm X.
Well, okay. I said other than that.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I gotta put Glory on there, no doubt about it.
You gotta add Glory. You got
A Soldier Story.
A Soldier Story like that. That's an American classic.
Right. And I gotta put that's 14. I gotta put the Denzel Washington movie. I'm gonna quickly try to find it.
I can't think of the name of that movie to save my life. Him and John Lithgow. That's when he was. He went from being a police officer to a prosecuting attorney.
No.
Yeah, that's the one with him and John Lithgow. No. That's when he pulled his gun. That's when he took off all his clothes and shot him in the knee. Remember? That's the one. That's not the one you're talking about.
That's not the one I'm talking about.
Tell me what. Give me.
I'm talking about the one where he was. And remember the song, "Time is on my side."
Oh, you're talking about the Touch movie.
Yes,
that was John Lithgow.
That was John Lithgow, wasn't it?
No, that was the big dude, John Goodman.
John Goodman starred with him. John Lithgow was the guy who was possessed.
Was that Touch?
No, it wasn't
something like
Touch.
that. Yeah, something like that. It's a one word.
But it was, to me, I have been saying this for years, but I know it's on here somewhere. I'll find it.
Yeah.
And there are so many for him.
It's got. I think it's something like Touch a Sense or something like that.
I thought he did a great job. Fallen.
Fallen. Yeah, I knew it was a one-word title.
Fallen.
It's a one-word title, yeah.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
That should be
6, 7,
15.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
You got one more left.
So I've gotta do this.
Okay.
There are two, and I don't really want to leave her out, but let me just put it this way. Foxy Brown with Pam Grier. Any of Pam Grier's stuff is great.
Yeah.
But I don't want to leave out Cleopatra Jones either.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to just say Pam Grier and Cleopatra Jones. So I got 16. So, but anything.
Yeah, Cleopatra, yeah.
But those are in my opinion, those are 15 movies that if you want to really look into the black experience,
yeah.
Those, to me, I mean, both lists are great.
Some of those, you don't look into the black experience, but I mean...
And I gotta admit, it's hard for me not to put Imitation of Life on here.
Imitation of Life is a really good movie.
Because I'm gonna tell you, for a long time, I gotta put that on my list, so I'm gonna have more than 15.
Yeah, that's cool. I figured you was gonna do that, man. You're gonna try to one-up me.
But
you got so many good movies now, though. Especially black movies. You got so many quality black movies.
Right.
And that you didn't put Black Panther on there? What's up with you, player?
See, I forgot Black Panther.
You didn't put Black Panther? Okay.
You know.
Throw that on my list too now. Don't leave me off.
Yeah, I put it on
Oh,
there.
you put it on there for me?
Yeah, remember I put it on there for you.
Oh, you wouldn't.
You didn't want to admit that you
What?
So, but and just quickly speaking of Denzel Washington, you're right. He's played some great movies. But,
I can trust Denzel and Morgan Freeman.
But Pelham 1, 2, 3 was an
Pelham 1, 2, 3 was
excellent
good too.
movie.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man.
You
Denzel has
know.
done so many good movies.
Devil in a Blue Dress. I'm just looking. Cry
in a Blue
Freedom.
Dress.
Story of Stephen
I
Biko.
didn't watch Cry Freedom.
Story of Stephen Biko.
I don't like movies with accents, so I don't watch those.
Oh, okay. Well, you missed a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. And there are plenty of others that Denzel did.
John Q, man. Have you seen John Q?
I've seen John Q.
John Q. I love
Crimson
John Q.
Tide. He and Sean
Crimson
Connery.
Tide was good. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent movie. I mean, and I'll be honest, I like this Flight. I'll tell you another one that
I love Flight.
I'll tell you another one that I'm just looking at the list. Man on Fire.
Man on Fire was
That
good.
was
Deja Vu was really good.
Yeah, that
too.
was a good one too.
Deja
So,
Vu was really good. Too.
so but I mean, you can't really go. Inside Man was another
Inside
one.
Man was good. Yeah.
So
Denzel has done some
he's done
really
some
good
great
movies.
work.
And I
He's
like
done some
what
great work.
I'm trying to think of who it was.
The Pelican Brief.
The Pelican Brief was
mentioned
really
that.
good.
Ricochet. I mean, I can go down the list.
I
on
remember
Denzel.
Denzel telling his agent. I remember somebody saying Denzel told his agent, "All right, listen, send me everything that Harrison Ford turns down."
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool. So they said, "Send me everything Harrison Ford turns down."
Mm-hmm.
And your man started getting all these quality movies. I thought that was pretty cool. And he's done some really good movies. Though.
Yep. So I mean, but yeah, that's my list. I've got like 18 of them. But okay, so pick one from your list that is a must see.
John Q.
John Q.
It speaks to everything that's happening today.
I'm gonna one up you on that one.
Okay.
Cornbread Earl and Me.
Yeah. See, that's why it's hard, man.
I know.
Cornbread Earl and Me would be
Because
a good
it speaks to everything
It
that's
still
happening
does, yeah,
today.
It still does.
Okay.
Right. And it was made in 67, 68.
Well, I think it was about early 70s.
72, 73, yeah.
Yeah, early 70s.
Jamal Wilkes
had just came out of college.
So it was like 72, 73.
Right. A lot of people don't realize that Jamal Wilkes was actually the star. Silk Wilkes, by the way.
Wilkes, that's it.
But if I had to pick one on this list, to me it would be Cornbread Earl and Me.
Really?
Because it was one of those movies. I remember seeing it and I had to be 13 or 14. And obviously not knowing what to expect. And it was such an upbeat movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then it crashed.
Yeah, it just went down fast.
I mean, and not down negatively, but just where it took you.
Right.
And then you began to relate.
Yeah.
When
I first watched the movie, the very first time I saw it, I think I was probably 15, right? 14 or 15. And I remember my uncle saying, "You got to see this. It's a classic, right?" It came on Channel 7. I'll never forget it. And one Saturday, me and my uncle, because usually my grandfather watched on Saturday, but this one Saturday, man, we sit down and me and my uncle, we watched that movie. And I was like, man, I love this movie. But I couldn't relate.
I actually went to the theater to see it.
I couldn't relate to it, though. I could not relate, man. I could not relate because, again, at 15, my experience with the police was really, I hadn't had a true sense of who the police were at 15, right?
I
didn't get that till like 16. At 16, had I watched the movie, I would have got it instantly.
Right.
But I remember watching it. I remember again when I was 20, I think I was like 22. And some friends we were watching movies and they put in Cornbread Earl and Me. The first time I ever cried watching it because I got it.
Every time I watch it, I cry.
I got it.
It's one of that one and Imitation of Life.
But you know what? I think some movies, man, some movies you don't really get because you don't have that experience to attach to it. But like I said, Cornbread Earl and Me, man, when I watched it the second time,
I actually went to the Center Theater to see Cornbread Earl and Me.
Okay.
And I was
me myself only saw 2 movies at the little place down on Main Street, the little movie theater on Main Street.
That was the Center.
Yeah, my mom took us to see the Sidney Poitier movie. I can't think of the name.
Now you also had the
Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby. When they was fixing the boxing match.
Yeah, that was with Jimmy Walker. I can't think of the name.
We went to see that one, and we also went to see. We went to see something else. I can't think of the name of it.
So you never went to movies at the Arkansas?
Nah, man, Dave, you're dating They remember I was born in '69.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dave. And when you going there back in the '50s, Dave, I wasn't born. I
Well,
wasn't even thought about it. I was just a gleam in my dad's eye.
So I went.
Just a gleam in my dad's eye there, Dave.
I actually saw the first movie. I'll tell you another one.
Which one?
Zulu Dawn.
Yeah. Like I told you, Dave, I don't like. Hello, how are you? I don't.
That was. I actually snuck in that movie at the Arkansas, and it was the gym on 9th Street. I snuck in that movie, and that was the first movie that I had ever seen where blacks were killing whites.
Really?
Zulu Dawn. Okay.
I never saw that.
And it's really about European colonialism.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that at the time, but over the years, as I watched it over and over again and began to understand the imperialism of white supremacy, then I realized what Zulu Dawn was all about.
Okay.
Because I remember the white woman that got one of them got killed. I was upset because at the time I was a kid. I didn't get it.
Right.
Because I had been brainwashed to think that the mean old Africans were bad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I saw that at the Arkansas, but then, at the gym on 9th Street. And then, of course, the Arkansas where they used to have the marathon movies.
Right.
So they would do the Sidney Poitier movies. They would start at 5 o'clock 5:30 that evening, and you wouldn't get through with the movies till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
One fee. So I got to see a lot of movies like that as well. But as you got older, you kind of went because the girls were there too,
Of course you did, yeah.
So you did more hanging out where the popcorn was. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to choose one on this list for me, and all of them are great, I think.
If you had to pick one movie, let me make sure I give it to you though. If you had to pick one movie that made you feel proud about being a black man, other than Black Panther, what would that movie be? One movie that made you feel proud to be a black man.
The sequel to Black Panther.
You can't do that, Dave. It's the head.
Why you gonna pick out Why you gonna pick out Black Panther?
That's where you're gonna go.
Come on,
give me the movie, Dave.
Well, it would be Black Panther. Okay.
That's it, Dave.
I'm talking about, but since you eliminated that,
Yeah, you gotta take that
it
out.
would be Black Panther.
Okay, but take that out.
If I had to pick one from my list,
Any movie. It don't have to be from your list.
it would be Malcolm X.
My dog.
It would be Malcolm X.
That would be mine.
Okay. If I needed to leave one thing to my unborn offspring,
Yeah.
I'd leave Malcolm X.
Yeah. That was mine.
Okay.
That would be mine.
If that was the only thing I could leave to them, it would be Malcolm
That
X.
would be mine.
I'm going to be totally honest. Okay.
Now,
So,
Hidden Figures would be my second one because I really liked it. I really liked it.
I liked Hidden Figures, but
I like what I loved about it was the only scene that really struck me was when the astronaut said, "Is she doing it? Okay, I'm good with it. She's doing it." That's the one I love. She transcended all the BS. Brilliance transcends all BS.
well, I don't know. I think the other one, I don't have another one. It would be Black Panther and Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, Philadelphia was one of them
Yeah.
too. Philadelphia for me. I watch Philadelphia. I watch it over and over and over and over. I watch every time Philadelphia's on, no matter where it comes on at, I'm watching it. If it's in the middle, at the end, if I'm lucky enough to catch the beginning, I'm done.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, the two equalizers that Denzel did,
They were pretty good too.
I enjoyed them.
Man, that's the thing, man. Denzel does some really good movies.
Yeah,
You know?
he does. He does, no doubt about it.
And you know what?
All right, so
I forgot. I need to add Ray to that list.
who?
Ray.
Ray. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Add Ray to
Good.
that
Yeah.
list.
And there are probably others that we've totally forgotten about.
So if we got them, call in.
Yeah, call us
in and share
up.
yours.
Let us know what yours are. Give us a couple of movies that you must see, black movies
Yeah.
for any time, but specifically Black History
Black
Month.
History Month.
And movies that you just have to see.
Just have to see. 855.
And I'll tell you another one that I forgot that just hit me.
This is Dave's talking. 855-525-5683 if you want to call in and share your movie. Hit us up.
The Wiz.
Nah.
Yes.
Nah.
Yes.
Nah.
Yes.
Nah.
Yeah, that's because you're not.
I don't like musicals.
Well, I knew that.
I don't
See,
like
I knew that. See,
I want to watch my movie. I don't want to hear music.
But
if I want to hear music, I'll play the radio. I don't want to hear
that movie.
I don't want to hear music in my movies.
That movie was such an awakening for so many black people.
How so?
The soundtrack, think about this. You had icons in that movie. You had Diana Ross. You had Michael Jackson. You had Nipsey Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, and then who was doing the soundtrack? Q, dog.
Yeah, Quincy Jones.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you think about, and then of course, the original score came from The Wiz on Broadway, and who did the original score? Stephanie Mills. See, when you're not cultured, you'll say
Well, so guess what? You can't be calling me bougie no more, then, dude. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, fine.
all right. By the way, that was Black Facts for today.
Listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, on JoyNetRadio.com.
And if you'd like to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, give me a call at 615-554-0568, and we can hook you up with a very nice package. And look, and again, I mean, if you've got some comments on must-see black movies, by all means, hit us up. I'd like to hear what yours are, to say the least. What's on your mind as it relates to those black movies? But I thought that was interesting that when I saw the author of that piece in USA Today, you know, it's kind of like white people telling you that there's no such thing as racism. How you, a white girl, gonna tell me?
She just made a suggestion. She wasn't telling me. She just made suggestions.
Well, it should have said, here are movies that I suggest my white friends watch.
Well, maybe she should have just said, hey, here are my favorite black movies. Maybe you should check
Well, something like that.
Yeah.
But to say these are, these are movies, let me give the correct title to the article. But to say, because, look, if you haven't seen A Raisin in the Sun with now you need to see the one with Sidney Poitier, okay?
Okay.
But 15 great movies for families to watch in honor of Black History Month. No, see, that's the wrong. Now, she probably didn't make that title. That was the copy editor who made that title. But that's, no,
Not
I
a good
mean,
title, you don't think?
no, that's not a good, I mean, those are some good movies,
Yeah.
but, you know, no shade on Missy Copeland, but no, she can't be number 3. Lee Daniels, The Butler, number 4. That was 2013. No, I mean, Claudine, think about that. I mean, you got to see Shaft, Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
You got to see some of those. You got to see Car Wash. It's got to be a Car Wash.
Car Wash, yeah.
Car Wash is the ultimate classic.
Yeah.
If you're black and you hadn't seen Car Wash,
Yeah, everybody's seen Car Wash.
you know, and think about that soundtrack, Rolls Royce.
Soul Plane. Oh my God.
Oh, I hated Soul Plane. That was just so ridiculous. No, that's not one you need to see. Gosh, no. You just brought the conversation down like that. Come on, man. God,
My bad.
you really just say so.
My bad. That's my bad.
Oh gosh. Okay. But no, those are just a few out there that I'd like that you got to see. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. But again, my all-time Denzel Washington movie, other than Malcolm X, is in fact Fallen. And if you haven't seen Fallen, it is John Lithgow. That was the first time that I had seen John Lithgow in that.
You didn't see the movie he did with I gotta find that movie. He did another movie with Denzel.
But he did Fallen before he did the second movie with Denzel. That was the first time because remember, Lithgow was more of a comedic actor. And I think he was Third Rock from the Sun was prior to that Fallen movie. And man, Lithgow, boy, Denzel played the hell out of that movie too, man. It was just written very well. And again, it was one of my all-time favorites with him also. But I mean, there are a lot of them. I'm trying to think of that Sidney Poitier with Bill Cosby. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Because that one with Jimmy, they did a couple of them. and I can't think of the name of it, so I'm gonna have to, excuse me, and Cosby. Let me look it up real fast. Hang on just a moment, folks. Sorry about this. Didn't know we were gonna get all into this. A Piece of the Action, Let's Do It Again, and Uptown Saturday Night. Those were the three movies, okay? They did Uptown Saturday Night was in 74. In 75, it was Let's Do It Again. And that was the soundtrack with the Staple Singers. And then A Piece of the Action in 77. So those were the three comedies that
I forgot about the Manchurian Candidate, which is an excellent movie. The
Mm-hmm.
original had Frank Sinatra and
Yep.
somebody else in it. I love both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I love both of those.
So yeah, those were the favorites of Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby back in the day. So
The Great Debaters.
yeah, that was pretty good. Antoine, what was it?
Antoine Fisher.
Antoine Fisher. Yeah. So there were a lot of them. Anyway, 855-525-5683 is the number. A couple of things we want to talk about and get to before we get out of here. Before our guest gets here, I should say.
He won't be here, man.
Just want to throw out a couple of more nuggets about Bloomberg. So did you know this? Bloomberg once blamed the end of redlining for the 2008 economic collapse.
I heard that.
Okay. Also, another nugget by Bloomberg is those of you who are public school advocates, Bloomberg is for charter schools. This is why, before y'all jump on somebody's bandwagon, you need to make sure that that bandwagon has room for you. And if you are black, it's pretty clear that Bloomberg's bandwagon don't have room for you. But you can walk behind and pick up the horse crap.
Hey, man, will you stop it?
I'm just saying. Get off his bandwagon. Bloomberg is a joke. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has nothing good for the black man. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to play the roasting of Jesse Washington, 17 years old, as 15,000 spectators watched. So that'll probably be our black fact for tomorrow. Multiple schools are closed today. Sylvan Hills is still closed after the threat from whomever the young lady was yesterday or today. So it's still closed. And I understand that East STEM School over at UALR, if you all don't know, there is actually a school on the campus of UALR. It has been closed today for bomb threats. Now, when they started putting those schools together, they promised us that you wouldn't have those types of problems. But I guess you do. So that's what's happening in Arkansas school lore. And hopefully no one gets hurt. Hopefully these are simply just young people who are having fun, if you want to call it that.
Ricochet.
And that was the other one. That was a good one too. Yeah, that was a good one. That was the one where he went after his wife. Was that the one
family, yeah.
where they were in Los Angeles and he built the thing? And
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was a good one too.
I had to find that.
Yeah, that was a good
Trouble.
one. Yeah. But again, I Fallen was the best one for me.
So, so are you saying that you're not supporting Michael Bloomberg?
No girls and boys.
You're-
I have no water. I have no bucket for him.
Supporting him, so we have to support him. We have to be in solidarity.
no.
We have to be in solidarity.
No.
I will be casting a vote for Michael Bloomberg.
I will respectfully disagree
I will be
with the
casting a
mayor.
vote for Michael Bloomberg.
I will respectfully disagree with the mayor.
Why, Dad?
Because he's wrong on Bloomberg, and I just got.
So who
here's what I found out, and by the way, that reminds me, Bobby Rush of the Congressional Black Caucus, he just threw his support behind Michael Bloomberg as well.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Well, let's hope these things are correct enders.
Well, again, that's where. Number one, you cannot if you trust your leaders.
But when you make these endorsements, man, you're making these endorsements with the hopes that if they become president, I mean, and what Mayor Scott did, I think was a smart move. I don't blame him for it because hey, if this guy can actually become president, it gives you a direct line to the president. I think that was a really smart move on his part. I would have tried that too if I was in this position. I really would have tried that because again,
Well, here's the
if you
article.
think he
I
has a
read.
chance, if you think he has a chance of winning, then yeah, go for it.
Okay, but if he's the same that's in the White House, why?
Well, so I'm looking at it like this, David. I'm sure that this is the way the mayor looked at it too. If this guy's able to win, then it gives me a direct line to him. And there are things in my city that I can direct now. I can go to him and say, hey, you know what? Little Rock needs X, Y, and Z. It really would be great if you can increase your appropriations by $4 million and send that $4 million to Little Rock specifically for X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C.
Okay,
Those kind of things are important.
so do you think that's what the mayor was thinking?
I like to think so. With the stuff he's trying to do, I like to think that's what his mindset was. Because I mean, hey, and plus that's the only guy you have.
I'm just going to relay the article that I read yesterday.
Okay.
Because Mayor Frank Scott is not the only one black leader or mayor who's endorsed Bloomberg as of late.
Mm-hmm.
I just mentioned Bobby Rush. Well, the word is that Bloomberg is paying all these people off.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Bloomberg's campaign is throwing around millions and millions of dollars for endorsements. And that's from, and I read the article last night, and I said, oh, I knew that anyway.
I don't want to think that our American
I'm not saying that Mayor Scott took money. I'm simply saying that based on the article I read last night, and it went into depth about how Bloomberg is all of a sudden, or maybe I was watching MSNBC. No, it was MSNBC, why is it all of a sudden he's making inroads with black leaders? And the fact of the matter is, Vertina, I'm trying to remember the sister's name that was on there. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that he's throwing around millions of dollars in black coffers. That's the word. And that's from a credible person that was on MSNBC. I believe that was I know it was last night. So I don't know if that's what the mayor did.
Well, he said he's going to spend $2 billion. So
You see what I'm saying?
I don't want to believe our mayor is doing that. But like I said, I believe that his move is very strategic. Because hey, if a guy like Bloomberg gets in the race,
Yeah, mine would be strategic too if you put $10,000 in my campaign fund. You know,
no chief,
mine would be strategic too.
no chief.
Tell you what, Robert, if you give me $10,000 right now, I'll like you more.
I don't want to be like that much.
You know, okay.
I give you
What can I get
more.
about 5,000?
I give you $5 like me more.
Okay, I'll take 5. I won't like you much. It'll be just a smidgen.
For $5.
Yeah.
All right, let me keep
And
my
I won't,
$5.
as long as I ain't got to be public. Long as I ain't got to be public.
You ain't gonna be public.
As long as I ain't got to make it
But
public.
you don't want to release nothing?
No, I don't want people to know that I like you. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah. So,
I don't feel like this.
hey, Miss Keisha.
That's terrible.
Hi.
I just don't. So now, if you give me $7.50, I'll write a sentence for
I
you.
don't need that. I'm good, thanks.
You know.
If you don't even like me just because I'm a great guy, Dave, there's something I can do to buy you. I'm not gonna buy you.
Would you buy me a beer?
I'll buy you a beer. Yeah, I'd love to buy
Okay.
you a beer.
Okay. St. Pauli girl.
Ugh. Yeah, you just get,
What you mean? Ugh.
Yeah, you just make me sick to my stomach.
Man, that's a foreign beer. I don't drink domestics.
You don't drink domestics.
I haven't drank a domestic beer in
Bougie,
I'd say
bougie
40
brother. You
years.
just a bougie brother.
Your phone, Robert, rings during the show.
That's not my phone.
uh,
See? Why she gonna say that me?
It did. You shouldn't be lying like that in front of the pastor.
And that's your phone ringing. Look at you. That's your phone ringing.
I'm trying to
See what
think.
he's saying right now.
I'm trying to think. So here's how I started drinking foreign beers.
Okay.
You know, back in the day, you know, when you growing up in the hood, you drank that rot gut stuff. And I decided that I wanted to step my game up. And people don't realize that Bennigan's here back in the day
Back in the day, yeah.
used to be a
They used to be the spot.
They used to jam at
Yeah, they
Bennigan's.
used to be the spot.
Tell you a funny story, but but anyway, so when you go to Bennigan's, I went to Bennigan's and ordered, believe it or not, a Schlitz malt liquor bowl.
No. They had Schlitz.
No, they didn't. That's the point. And then, of course, everybody was drinking, most people drinking Heineken. So I started drinking Heinekens. And I've been drinking them foreign beers ever since.
You're just a follower.
Yeah.
I thought you were a leader, Dave.
You know, St. Pauli girls,
JC
Moosehead.
said I would have never drank a Heineken.
You know.
When I saw the look on his face when he said Heineken, he frowned up like, boy.
That old English 800.
He's thinking this is a special proud for you.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you a funny story now. If you want to hear a really funny story, I'll tell you a funny story.
Oh, quick, just about Bennigan's real fast. So, Bennigan's here in Little Rock was unlike any other Bennigan's in the country. Do you realize that? Bennigan's here in Little Rock used to party,
Oh, yeah, we had some good times at Bennigan's.
but other Bennigan's weren't like that. So when I first moved to Memphis, you know, I'm thinking,
went to Bennigan's?
I'm going to Bennigan's.
Nah, dog. It ain't
And I'm like, I go up, get ready to go, and I go into Bennigan's, and it's not even a dance floor. You know, this Bennigan's had a dance floor. Our Bennigan's did. And go into that Bennigan's, I'm looking around for the dance floor. This white guy's on the door. He looks at me. I say, hey, man, where's the dance floor? He looks at me like, dance floor? I said, y'all don't have a dance floor in this Bennigan's?
Nope.
He said, no. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm from Little Rock. The Bennigan's in Little Rock, man, they jam down there. He said, no, we don't do that up here.
Hey, man, back in the day, me and my boys, one night we were sitting around chilling. And it was actually during the day. And the boy said, hey, man, I know some girls in Shreveport. Everybody was like, you want to make a road trip? Road trip. So we started thinking, all right, we need beer and we need money for gas. So we was like, hey, you know what? The little store right there on Roosevelt and Confederate, it was Confederate, now it's Springer. They had cases of Old English 800 for $8.
God.
Yeah. So we scrapped up about $50 and we went down there and got us 4 cases, put some gas in there. We was like, how we gonna eat? We ain't gonna worry about that. We just gonna get down here. We'll worry about getting back and eat when we get there. Dude, we went down. We never made it. The police pulled us over, so we never made it. It was yeah.
Intervention. That was.
Did they take your beer?
No. We all went to jail.
Oh, y'all did?
Yeah, we were drunk as hell.
Oh, you poor things.
We were drunk, man.
You
We were
poor
drunk.
things. You know.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, we used to chase the sun, as we call it. So we'd get in the Growly Sport and drive till the sun was down. And then we'd end up in Texas, West Texas, you know.
Man, y'all crazy.
Yeah,
That's when you were young.
Yeah,
You was young
crazy.
and dumb. You just do whatever.
But anyway, 855-525-5683. Just quickly, Keisha, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
since
that
you're
should be
here.
good. That'll be good.
Okay, and just a quick question.
I can't hear.
If there was a black movie, give these to her. If there was a must-see black movie for Black History Month, what would it be for you?
For
What would be your
me,
pick?
What would be your pick?
Give us your movies.
We went through and picked 15 movies. Let's name them. But what would be your pick?
I like the, I think it's called the Green Book.
The Green Book. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know the name of the
Didn't
movie.
particularly care for that, but
I like the history
right.
behind it though, and they stopped at all these different. I said I'm pretty good today, don't I?
Yes, you do.
I'm just saying, I like this. What's
Yeah.
happening? I liked all the different historical stops that they put in the movie and things that happened in it. So a lot of people that don't know about it. And then my mother said she used to have one of those
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a long time.
Mm.
And it just kind of started crumbling, but it's interesting like that.
So, of all the movies, you picked The Green Book.
That popped in. I mean, my favorite movie, I didn't say because I'm biased, is The Color Purple.
The Color Purple.
It was just in theaters yesterday.
Okay.
For one day. No, yeah, but
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot to learn in The Color Purple.
Yeah, it
a
is.
lot.
Mm.
I can't stand Danny Glover right now because of it. But I was 11, so I can't.
It's just a movie. Just a movie.
I can't. His
It's just a
face,
movie.
it does it for me.
It's just a movie.
Yeah.
So yours are The Green Book and Color Purple. All right. So when we come back, we're gonna go through a list of movies that we think, and I guarantee you, you're gonna say, "Oh yeah."
I will. I like saying oh yeah.
Oh, you do. Okay. All right.
Mm.
We'll take the top of the hour break, dropping in on a special occasion before Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
It's
I may sing a song.
Keisha Cobb.
It's
Well,
called Robert.
Oh, jeez.
Wake up,
Jesus.
Wake up.
Well, I might, if you're gonna sing, then I might have to break out my Michael Henderson and Valentine Love.
Okay, well, I'll see y'all tomorrow.
What you gonna sing,
We
Rob?
can crew.
I ain't gonna sing nothing. I'm gonna sing another one, Bites the Dust. That's what I'm gonna sing.
Oh, Lord.
It's just a small sport. You got your Valentine stuff together?
Yeah, got it 2 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
What is Valentine's stuff?
You know, I don't know.
I don't.
I don't either. Just buy something for yourself. That's how you do that.
Yeah, get you something nice. You know, Keisha probably got all kind of stuff at her house. She don't want nobody to know. She probably be getting out 1-800-FLOWERS been blowing. Ding dong!
Again!
Oh my God.
Oh, these African violets are so beautiful. So pretty. Who sent these to me?
I love these lilies.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Peony. That's my favorite.
Oh.
Peony?
Peony, yeah.
Okay.
Puny or peony?
Peony. It's how you, peony.
Yeah.
Peony, okay.
You need to get
My
educated.
favorite flower.
I
Oh.
don't know nothing about flowers.
Yeah.
Only flowers I know about.
Caroline.
I don't know nothing about flowers. I can't say that people listen.
Except the ones that grow wild, let you dry out. We'll be back in a moment.
The law offices of James F. Swindoll provides our clients the personal care and attention that
So-
Have 1 hour of sleep.
cannot offer. Our
Here's a list of black movies.
I mean, wait until you see JC to give us some extra time because your boy trying to show up
His
late.
church Sunday.
You think he gonna
We ain't getting him if he don't show up on time. That's on him.
I want to whack his ass out. I don't want that motherfucker to
No.
get off.
The guy that wrote To Serve the World just passed away.
anytime for a free attorney
The author of To
consultation.
Serve the
Call
World.
1-800-848-1290.
I want to win. Son, I want to get no
That's
break.
1-800-848-1290.
Well,
You don't got time?
No, I mean, no, I don't want to give. I'm not giving him nothing because the fact of the matter is, if he don't show up on time, he gonna get woe out.
What's the one about the lady in, I think it was Louisiana, and she started her home was like for really misfits, and everybody started coming over there, and I think it started with the hymn. It's real based on a real story. I think Pam Grier played in it. Older Pam Grier.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that at all.
It was based in Louisiana. If I think of the name, you'll know exactly what it is.
And it was about what?
She turned her home into kind of like a
I'm familiar with the story, but
hotel. If you were a castaway like you are, you know, see, just kind of uncomfortable like you are right now. You could go over there and they'll love on you, feed you, help you learn shit.
Get connected, 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611.
How long
Call,
is the show?
click, or come by.
we will be done here at 2. Do you have something you gotta do?
Call us now. Let's walk through
I
this.
didn't know y'all.
870-246.
We're here every day from 12 to 2. You forget?
Service you can depend on. At Mitchell Funeral.
I can't think of much right now. I'm working on an exciting project. The girl I met through the campaign has a graphic design firm. And she saw some of my work with the campaign, and she's like, I want you to work with me. And she has like all these degrees. I'm just as good as her graphic design. She'll be like, I need you to do this, this, and that. And I type it up. Good. Boom. I mean, I've always wanted to do this. It's great, but years up all night.
So what time you gonna have to split? You're not gonna be able to do
I
that.
have to figure out how to pick my son up at 4 and then go to a meeting for one of these clients.
Well, if you have to go, just let me know. We'll just do them. We'll do some.
I think I can stay till 2. I just need to, I'm gonna coordinate my
Well, let's see, because JC is actually in the editor right now.
he's one.
He's in the editor right now, and I don't know if he's gonna be through by the time by 2 o'clock.
Orthodox answer to your aggravation.
So we'll see.
And apparently, I will.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in Mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Welcome back to the show. Robert Webb, of course, you just heard him. Keisha Cobb dropped in to say hi to us as well. Looking forward to seeing what's on her mind. This hour, I want to make sure I give some love to the king. I'm going to play a piece about what LeBron James has done, at least Kent State now, if you all don't know, has done something nice in partnering with LeBron James. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Want to remind you can also call the show at 855-525-5683. That's how you get in touch with us. We are expecting Judge Vic Fleming to show up here in about 30 minutes. We'll see.
24 exactly.
24 minutes. We're expecting him at 1:30. If not, we'll just move on. Also, don't forget you can download the Joynet Radio app. Carry us everywhere you go. And if you miss any part of the show, be sure to download the podcast. Just go out and search your favorite podcast platform for Black Focus Radio, and we will be there. And when I go out and look at the analytics for the podcast, I'm pleasantly pleased that many people are going out and downloading and listening to that podcast. So really appreciate it, but we need others to do it as well. So make sure you do that. 855-525-5683 is the number. Last hour we got into movies, black movies that you must see for Black History Month. It was one of those topics that just kind of grew on its own. I didn't plan to spend that much time on it, but it emanated from a white lady in the USA Today making 15 movies that black people should see, or people should see for Black history. And it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Where?
It wasn't.
A particular spot?
No, it didn't feel comfortable. Okay, so we decided to put together 15 movies that we felt individually that you should see, and although there are a few that's common, there are some others that are not, but all of them are great as well. In fact, I'm just saying, did we say Boys in the Hood?
Yeah,
I put it on my list. Okay. All right. So those are, but now that you saw the list.
What about Don't Be a Menace to South Central Society while drinking my juice in the hood?
I'll tell you, you know what? I'm going to tell you one that we didn't mention. And by the way, the Richard Pryor movie we didn't talk about, I'll tell you, that needs to be on this list.
Yeah.
But one we didn't mention was I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
That was
Hollywood Shuffle too.
Yeah, that was whoa, wait a minute. Undercover Brother. The first one.
Undercover Brother was pretty good.
But the movie the Richard Pryor movie that to me was the all-time best Richard Pryor movie.
Okay.
Which Way Is Up?
Which Way Is Up? That's it.
Which Way Is Up?
That's
baby.
it. That's it.
That is.
That's it. That's
man,
it.
that is
That's
the
the classic.
all-time best. Now the one he did
Which Way Is Up?
what was the one he did with Cicely Tyson when they took the kids on the
That was
on the bus and the little blind kid was driving. They let him drive the bus.
I can't remember.
That was a great movie too. But
We're missing some Diana Ross movies.
well, what Diana Ross movie? What are yours?
This one isn't that old, I don't think, but what's the movie that I believe it was Denzel Washington starred in?
Oh, how did we forget Harlem Nights? Jeez.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Those.
Yeah, that was a great one.
What's the one where he played the blues?
Bustin' Loose.
That was it.
Which
It wasn't Harlem
Mo
Nights.
Better Blues?
Yes, God.
Yeah, that was a good
trumpet,
movie.
It was.
That was a good movie.
I
in
like
fact.
how they incorporate history into them.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I forgot about that one.
The movie about the legendary attorney, something Esquire, and it was based on a true story.
Yeah, Roman
Israel.
That was a great
Yes.
movie. That was
I
hilarious.
just wish I could have met him. Like he actually did that stuff in the courtrooms. Wasn't afraid of people. Yeah, I love that. So I like some kind of history.
So what's the black movie that if you had to choose one, what is the one that is a must see?
Now, I'm trying to get past my favorite one. Let me think about that.
Okay. And you said Diana Ross movies. So what Diana Ross movie that would be? The only Diana Ross movie that I would recommend is Lady Sings the
That's
Blues.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
She was such an amazing actress, though.
Lady
Come
Sings
on.
That was the Billie Holiday story.
I know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of something.
That was with her, she and Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
But other than that, I don't recall Diana Ross and
Okay, all of the Motown record movies that paid homage to them. With Howlin' Wolf, which one was that?
that was Cadillac Records. With Howard
yeah,
Wolf.
sure was.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I don't know, something about history, you know, something factual.
hmm
I love those kind of movies.
Okay. So you got one. That's the
You know what? No, I
One-
would say Harlem Nights, though.
okay.
Even though it was kind of comedic, it does pay homage to the way we were then.
What was the one with the Lawrence Fishburne and Vanessa Williams and he played Bumpy Williams? Bumpy was
Oh yeah, that was Hoodlum.
the Hoodlum. That was a good
That was
movie.
Hoodlum. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good movie.
And I'm gonna tell you, although it wasn't a black movie per se,
Right.
but the Cotton Club
Cotton Club was a great
was
movie.
a dang
was a
good
good
movie.
But you know what? The one movie I love westerns, so we haven't talked about Blazing Saddles.
Oh yeah, most
Blazing Saddles
definitely,
was
most
good.
definitely.
A
And
lot of people have Blazing
Oh,
Saddles.
and the one I forgot to mention, and that's not similar, but is a western. What is it? Buck and the Preacher.
Buck and the Preacher, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good one too.
Buck and the Preacher.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
They made a lot of good black movies, I think. They
Yeah.
made a lot of good black movies.
I had to watch the westerns for them.
and let's see what else. Of course, this latest Denzel Magnificent Seven I thought was pretty
Yeah, it
good.
was pretty good.
I was a big fan of the Magnificent Seven in the beginning with Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
I was a big that was a great movie. So when this came out, I had to see that.
But
So that was
I'm really upset we don't have Harlem Nights on our list anywhere. That should definitely be
Yeah.
at the top of our list.
Well, yeah.
But that's the great thing about black cinema. You have so many great movies.
There's a lot more than when you really start sitting down and thinking about it. There's a lot more than we give credit to.
Yeah. So and we should really give props to that to Spike Lee. I
Yeah.
was watching this thing last night. and
Although I did see the Malcolm X thing last
You
night.
did see it. It was good. I was watching.
I have my reservations about
I
it.
caught a piece of this thing last night. It was talking about, they were talking about black cinema and said how people said, there's not white people won't come see black movies. Black people only go see black people only go see black movies.
Right.
White people don't go see them. So they were talking about, Spike Lee and the sister that did Eve's Bayou. They said that they did the research on
Great
Eve's
movie, by the
Bayou.
way,
Yeah,
too.
Eve's Bayou should be on that list too. They said they did the research on Eve's Bayou, and what they found out is that 50% of the audience was white. Completely blew the stereotype that white people don't like black movies.
Yeah.
And thanks to people like Spike Lee, because Spike Lee brought, I can't think of her name now, but he brought the sister in and kind of helped her out. And so between Spike Lee and his sister, they
Which
pretty
sister?
much, the sister that did Eve's Bayou, I can't think of
Okay,
her name now.
okay.
Megan Good was in that.
Yeah, but
And
the sister that made
The,
it was
the
like,
little girl, the little sister is the one you're talking about, light skin.
yeah, no, she didn't make, I'm trying to think of the chick that made the movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rosa Perez
Talking
and
about
Do the
wrote
Right
the
Thing.
movie
No.
or acted in it.
No, she actually produced the movie. I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay,
think of who she
yeah.
is.
Let me see.
And I forgot about Amistad.
Oh yeah, how could we forget?
Give us free!
Hey, as a matter of fact,
Give us
I
free!
can't believe I did
can't.
because I write with my pen name Dante Sinkay.
You done
Right,
this, okay?
right, and
Okay.
that is why I write under that pen name was because of Amistad. So I can't believe we didn't think about that. Of course.
Give
So,
us
yeah.
free.
So yeah, I can't believe we didn't think about that.
Free. Give us free. I love that movie.
Okay, what about I'm trying to think of the actual movie with Kuta Kinte.
You talking about Roots?
Um,
Yeah, that's a Roots.
y'all said Roots?
Well, that wasn't really a movie. That was more like a series.
Okay, and
But
it's a whole movie now.
but it was definitely groundbreaking.
Do you
no
know
ifs, ands,
when
or
I was
buts.
11, we were not allowed to watch The Color Purple?
Why would
There
you?
was a lot of people
Why would you want
Parents
to?
wouldn't- I mean, we just
That's
thought
not
it
the-
was a movie.
That's not the type of movie I'd let my 11-year-old daughter
We
watch.
were not allowed to watch it, so I think a year later I was.
You snuck and watched it.
No, she let us watch it.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Richard Pryor, Bingo Long and Traveling All Stars. Y'all forgot about that one.
Yep.
That was pretty good.
And what was the other one where he played Willie T. Ribs? Grease Lightning.
Grease Lightning, yeah.
I'm
Grease
still
Lightning.
trying to think of this movie. They have a whole restaurant dedicated to him. Shaka Zulu.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
That would just do something to you.
Yeah, man, I tell you, there was a time when I would watch Shaka Zulu 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah. Or I'll just let it play
You know.
in the day. Just
Yeah, there were time when I'd watch Shaka Zulu on a regular basis as well. That was a pretty good movie. Also.
There's a restaurant that in Vegas that is dedicated to him and that movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Looks
Where?
like the cast. It's in Vegas. I don't know where. I've seen it online, but it's amazing.
Okay. So, but yeah, those are just some movies. I mean, what are your movies? What we'd like to hear from you if you want to. We threw a few out there, of course, on my list. Of, if I had to say the one movie that you must see, I actually have 2: Malcolm X, and the other one is Cornbread Earl and Me. It's just a Cornbread Earl and Me is classic, and because it teaches you about what's going on now with police brutality has basically always been going on in our communities. And we tend to believe that only poor black kids get killed. But when you watch Cornbread Earl and Me be murdered in the streets, and as I sit here, I can see that orange soda. In fact, I can see the scene where he goes into the store and he gets that orange soda with his basketball, and he's dribbling down the street in the rain, and he gets shot, and the soda goes up in the air and splatters on the street, and it mixes with his blood running down. That, to me, that was such a poignant scene. And then, of course, the cover-up by the police. You thought the movie was over, but then again, it goes into the cover-up by the police, and to me, just an all-time classic. But anyway, 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you want to call us up. I mentioned LeBron James. LeBron James, as I've told you all, is that I am a big fan of his, not for what he does on the court. Okay? Now, let's be clear. What he does on the court and what he continues to do on the court as a 35-year-old man is amazing. Last night, he had a triple-double and led his team to victory over the second place Denver Nuggets. But the one thing he's done lately is he has partnered with Kent State University. And as you all know, that he promised the kids of Akron, Ohio, if they made a certain grade point, that they would have their school paid for, their college paid for. He has now partnered with Kent State University to offer 4 years tuition to qualifying students from his I Promise school.
That's pretty cool.
That's killer.
That's what's up.
That's killer.
And he fine.
Okay. So let's just listen to
You
the.
okay, Keisha?
Let's,
I'm shaking my
yeah.
head no, but I'm saying,
Let's listen to LeBron quickly.
yeah, let's see that.
We've always had a great relationship with Kent State and Akron U, and they love what we've been doing at the IPS, and we love the university as well. So it's always mutual when we're able to come together, something like that. So to be able to give free tuition to my inaugural kids, it's crazy. I mean, like free tuition for 4 years. So they can decide if they want to get free tuition there or they want to go to Akron U. We have so many options. And I just know that so many kids in my community just don't have many options. So for me to be in a position where I can give these kids options to decide what they want to do in the future, it's probably the best thing I've ever done.
Who's in the background disrupting
They're in
my
the locker room.
man talking?
But I don't care what you say.
No one's saying anything.
LeBron James, this is why I call him the king.
He's
Okay.
my best player ever, just for his off the field, off the court.
Exactly. Okay, Keisha.
Okay, you know what? Let's talk about some economic development, okay? And how what he's doing can help these kids financially in their future. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just saying. Hi. Now, they're probably going to be in debt if it were not for him.
Most definitely.
Per semester, depending on the school, $3,000 to $5,000 every 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
For 4 years.
At least, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's say about $100,000 in debt before they're 30, and he is pretty much expunging all of that is beautiful
It is.
and giving them a leg up.
And here's what they're just
And he's so well spoken.
and just to piggyback on what you're talking about is that many economists have surmised that part of the reason that the housing market is so low is because of what you just talked about. Is typically what in the past what you did, you went to college, you got your degree, you got that job,
Right.
and you bought a house. Okay?
Yeah. And you can pay for it.
And you could pay for it.
Okay.
The report that I saw said people are college students are no longer doing that now.
Too much
They're,
debt.
they're putting off buying those homes and those big luxury items because of the debt. So what LeBron James is doing is not only just giving these kids a college education,
Yes, ma'am.
but they're giving them a leg up when it comes to financial freedom.
Their life.
Exactly.
That's the rest of your life, because it won't go, well, it'll come off your credit, but it won't, you still owe the IRS.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Still gotta break bread.
They'll come for your bank accounts, they'll come for any assets you own.
No doubt.
Even if it's not on your credit. So kudos.
Yeah, I
To
think he's doing
him.
pretty good.
So, and that's why I call him the king. You know, obviously I love the way he plays. I'm not a Laker fan by any stretch of the imagination. And you know, I saw a post yesterday. You know, LeBron. You know, this thing with Kobe has hit LeBron hard, and this one guy from Los Angeles made this long post about, and I laughed because this is the hatred that people have for LeBron. This was a black guy who made a post that said, LeBron is trying to milk Kobe's death.
For what points? I mean, what?
Why will LeBron be trying to make his death?
Exactly.
What can he get from it? He's not running for office.
But not only that, when you're LeBron and you do stuff like we just talked about,
Yeah. They don't talk
look,
about
come
it.
on,
Oh,
dude.
and LeBron is you know, there's a new Hummer coming out, the electric Hummer, and the first thing you see on the page is him. So he just got endorsed.
I just
Getting that money.
I just think he's a class act. He's the guy that, hey, I'd love for my daughter to bring home.
I think if more celebrities had his mentality, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in.
Well, I think what you're beginning to see, you're seeing more of that, and I think it's because of
But
LeBron.
I guarantee y'all, I say this now, I hope it never happens, but they gonna get that, bro.
Well,
They laying in wait for him. He has created his own infrastructure. He has no NBA infrastructure at all.
nope.
That ain't gonna make that.
And everything that he does is self-contained.
Right.
Okay, so there are very few people on the outside can make money off LeBron. LeBron makes money off of them,
Right.
and this angers a lot of people. And unfortunately, when I hear black people going at LeBron, I'm like, man, what's wrong with you?
You know what? So I was watching Get Out. We should put Get Out on the list. So you remember when Get Out, when he said, you know, I'm not always comfortable being around a lot of white people, and the black lady started crying.
Yeah.
You know, she was crying because she was white inside, you know, she's black outside. So that's how black folks are. You got some black folks like that. They white inside.
They are,
You know, I only
they
saw that
really
movie
wanna
once.
be. Me too.
They racist white folks inside.
And it
they
took me
racist white
years.
folks inside.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just don't know it.
It took me years to
They
watch the
know it.
movie. But they know it, and
I think they know.
you know, and those are the people that are following around behind, you know, some of these Republicans and things of that nature. So, you know, that's how it goes. But I just, you know, I wanted to make sure I made that point about LeBron because, you know, this is why they hate him so much, is because he leads, he doesn't follow.
Right.
You know, and you're right. I think there are people who are sitting, laying in wait hoping if they can't bring him down,
fails
that he
or something.
falls somewhere and they
Well-
can say, see.
Yeah, he isn't perfect.
Yeah, they just wait. Well, I think it's kind of like any other athlete. They're just waiting for an opportunity to pounce, right?
Yeah. Or
And-
black actor, actress.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a lot of black actors and actresses that really go out there. You know, I mean, what Robert Townsend and I think Robert Townsend and Spike Lee were really pioneers back in the day.
We got
producing their own movies.
well, I'll tell you, what was the movie that Robert Townsend did with the
Hollywood Shuffle,
Hollywood Shuffle?
5 Heartbeats.
No, it was the other one where he played the superhero.
I remember that.
Yeah, Meteor Man.
Meteor Man. That was a good one as
He
well.
did a
so.
lot of family-friendly things back then when it wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would kind of label him as lame, but I love him.
I think of all his movies, the one I loved the most was Hollywood Shuffle. And I didn't know why I loved it so much until I was a little older. When it was just he was making fun of Hollywood and all the stereotypes they put on black folks.
Yeah.
And I love that movie because it was hilarious how they'd be like, "Yo, Master Tom!" And all of a sudden he come back and he's talking like a thespian. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this, right? I mean, it was just amazing, man. I love it.
But these are again, as you sit and you think, you begin to realize that, man, you're right. There are so many movies that are
There's
just
some great ones out
you
there.
could sit and watch black movies. You know, if you're smart, I'm hoping that you would go ahead and watch. If you have the money, you would make a black movie channel and you could just watch it over and over again. It would be just classic, so that would be interesting. So there's a lot of stuff that you could go out and watch for sure, if you wanted to do that. So let's see. All right, so we're gonna get ready for our guest coming in here in just a moment.
I gotta apologize.
While we're getting ready, I want to circle back to LeBron and what some of the other athletes or celebrities may do, coming from a marketing industry. Look, a lot of them get paid to give away a lot of stuff, like when Oprah gave away the cars, General Motors sponsored that.
Oh yeah.
Or when Ellen gives away all of that cool stuff, she doesn't come out of pocket for it. AT&T will give that $10,000. So for LeBron to be doing this, and it's his baby,
and it's coming out of his pocket.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's coming out of his pocket. So I just think that's huge for him. And again, I am a huge fan. I was skeptical early on about LeBron. Didn't know.
How you gonna be skeptical?
Well,
about
because
LeBron?
he was young.
He's bowlegged.
How can you be that? All right, Keisha, calm down over there.
Okay, you brought him up.
But I was worried about him
Is it
coming
okay if we
from
sit
his
Judge next to
background.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah,
He'll be fine. I'll protect him.
So
I don't know. You Judge is kind of
I will
sexy. You
protect
you
him.
gonna be alright? You sure?
Haircut looking good.
Oh man,
Don't
maybe I need to
start.
put Judge right here.
Don't
Yeah, you
start. Don't start.
All right, so I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk to our guest, Judge Vic Fleming. We'll talk to him in just a moment. Of course, if you've got some questions or comments for Judge Fleming, you can call us up at 855-525-5683. And if you're afraid to listen on the radio, talk to us on the radio, then you can send those to me via Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and of course, YouTube. And we're still taking your favorite, the one black movie that you would have to watch for Black History Month. We're still taking that list as well. So I'd love to hear those.
We didn't say the one.
Yeah, we did 15, but if there was just one, what would it be?
Malcolm X. No,
Yours is Malcolm X. Yours is Green Book.
Really, of all the movies, you're gonna go Green Book.
Color
I'm gonna
Purple.
do Color Purple.
And then of
About the
course,
South.
mine is Cornbread Earl and
You
Me.
shook your head about Color Purple?
Cornbread Earl and Me.
Color
All right.
Are you serious? It's my favorite movie too.
We're gonna take a break. I ain't the big fan of Color Purple.
Oh, it's so funny and good.
I'm just saying, I'm not that big of a fan of that one. But anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
Judge, thank you for coming.
I'm glad to be here. I'm gonna tell you my favorite LeBron story,
Which one?
and I guarantee you nobody else would ever mention it. When Steph Curry was a sophomore at Davidson College, and Davidson was playing in the Elite
Oh, yeah, I
Eight
remember
in
that.
Michigan.
Yeah.
LeBron just showed up in the
Showed up
crowd.
at the crowd, yeah.
And LeBron was, nobody was cheering stronger for Steph every time he made a three.
Then LeBron,
And
yeah, I remember that.
you see, Davidson is my alma mater.
Oh, really?
I'm a big
Okay.
LeBron fan. But the idea that the two of them would be such rivals
I
is,
could not
9 or 10 years later.
Yeah.
You know how I say I love his boots. He comes in with the same boots on.
Really?
I'm gonna go tell people about this.
Those more expensive than mine. Mine are $200 boots.
These are two baby. This is a baby alligator on your foot. A whole alligator.
No, that's an ostrich. He got alligator.
Oh, that is an alligator. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
He got the real boots. I got the ones that they give away.
Don't believe him.
Mine they give away. You can get mine anywhere. You can go to Walmart. You can get these on sale for $8. Yeah, you can. Now the bad thing is they get wet, they draw up. I had to put oil on to stretch them back out. They don't believe it. That's true. Just telling you. It's true. It's true.
Well,
So I need to put these on?
yeah,
Yes.
you can hear.
Just in case we get a call. But they might be scared because they might go to traffic court. They might not want to call in and say nothing. So you're going to be good.
He's my central.
Good job. He's good. He's good.
Not for me. I went with someone else.
How can you not go to traffic court?
Huh?
That's a rite of passage.
I was in Texas.
Oh, yeah, Texas. Yeah, that's a
different thing.
totally different animal. Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I can't hear anything.
We're not ready yet. We got to pay some bills.
That's what y'all did the other day?
What's up?
The White Talisman?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Should it be what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he endorsed him.
Miss Austin not only has the experience, but she has a proven record serving the people of our community. On March 3rd, join me in supporting Miss Austin and vote for Tanya Laird Austin, Secretary of Division.
130.
Paid for by the committee to elect Tanya Laird Austin. The Josh Theater will not be the same. February 29th, 7:30. Pulaski Tech presents Mississippi's Mass Choir.
So, Victor, right?
Sorry?
Victor?
That's what I was born.
The Grammy Award-winning
You know
Mississippi
Victor
Mass
knew.
Choir has thrilled audiences around the world.
I know who Victor Fleming was.
Victor
You know who Victor
Oh, did you really just ask him?
So much talking to
You
him
know,
right now.
in the movie context, you know who Victor Fleming was?
No.
He was the director of Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz, and about 30 other films. But Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz were both nominated for Best Picture the same year. He's only director of that.
Didn't they film something here? Gone with the Wind? Something was filmed here.
Victor Newman was a soap
I
opera
was
guy.
trying to tell him y'all were just.
So you don't want somebody. So see, no
I
connection.
had to growing up. I watched him. He was the
Everybody
richest
watched
man.
Here we go.
If you look on the op-ed page of today's Democrat Gazette, you'll see an op-ed that I wrote about when I first ran for office. It was the same year that Vic Snyder first ran for office. People were constantly getting us
Y'all mixed
confused.
up.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of favorite too.
Well,
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you want to join the show. We've got a special guest in studio today. We've all campaign season long, we've been talking to various candidates about why they're running, the positions they're running for. We would be remiss in our duties as a journalistic radio station for the black community if we did not bring these candidates before you. And as I've always said since we started this show almost 5 years ago now, it doesn't matter what your political persuasion is. If you want to be on this show, call us up. We'd love to have you on here because we like to debate ideas. All right, why are you laughing,
Robert
Ryan?
and David like to do that.
Yeah, I like the way you say that debate.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't
So-
debate.
I try to keep the balance.
What do you mean I don't debate?
Look, you're doing it.
We got Judge here. I got to apologize.
You
to Judge.
started
I'm
it.
apologizing not to you, Judge. I said you wouldn't show up, so I apologize.
Yeah. Judge Vic Fleming is in the studio with us.
I go through this.
And
no apology necessary.
Thank you, sir.
All
All right,
right.
now we're good.
Judge Fleming, thanks for joining the show. We appreciate you joining us. Introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Judge Vic Fleming, and I'm currently running for re-election to a position that is called State District Court 31, Little Rock Division 2. It used to be known generally as Little Rock Traffic Judge. There's a lot more than Little Rock traffic involved because all of the district court judges now sit 2 days a month in circuit court. So for me personally, in addition to doing all of the Little Rock traffic cases, I also preside over about 50 cases a month of domestic battery, child support, paternity, and eviction cases in circuit court, the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. I ran for this position in 1996, was elected, and have had no opposition in 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, and 2016. And lo and behold, this year I get to go out and actively campaign because somebody else is running for the job. And I've had a blast doing it, and I'm happy to be here. I have a standing invitation to everyone in the community to come sit in Little Rock Traffic Court for 1 hour and observe the proceedings. It's a public proceeding, you don't really need the invitation. It'll be the most educational hour you spend that year until you challenge yourself to find something that's more educational. And things that I say today in the abstract, will become real to you if you came and sat down and watched court for about an hour.
Okay. So, Judge, I did that. Me and Russ Waycop, we came in there last year. We sat in there for a couple of days. And the thing that's always been overwhelmingly surprising to me is how there are so many black folks. I mean, being a judge, do you ever sit there and go, are only black folks committing traffic violations? I mean, because the 2 days, I've been there more than 2 days, but I've come in there at different times, kind of scattered out. And every time I come, overwhelmingly, the crowd is black or Hispanic.
I wish you would explain it to me.
Really?
I mean, I don't ask law enforcement officers, how they allocate, the distribution of tickets, but I can tell you that you're not the first person to ask it. The first group that I remember asking that, probably 1997 or 98, Walter Nunn, who was at UALR for a long time, and there, Walter brought a group of Russian judges to traffic court, and these Russian judges sat through about an hour and a half or 2 hours on a plea and arraignment day, and their first question at the end of the proceeding is, why do you have such a disproportionate number of African Americans in here? And I said, well, there's no way I can really know the answer to that, but if you look at the tickets, a lot of them, well, first of all, not every ticket is mandatory court. Okay. Some tickets are non-mandatory, some tickets are mandatory. So I don't know how many tickets.
I didn't know that. So you got tickets that aren't mandatory to come to court?
Right.
So is a speeding ticket like a not mandatory ticket?
A speeding ticket is non-mandatory if it's less than 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Okay. You can handle it if that's the only charge you have. Anytime you have
19.
Anytime you have 3 or more charges on one ticket, it becomes a mandatory court. Anytime there's any possibility whatsoever of jail being a sentence, and I have to do a footnote here because a lot of people just don't know this. Okay. Driving without a driver's license is punishable by up to 90 days in jail. Right. Driving on a suspended license is punishable by up to 6 months in jail. Driving without a license is already, if there's any potential for jail time, it's mandatory court. I always appoint the public defender to represent people who come without a lawyer if they have those kinds of charges. So in that regard, I am, in a sense, giving people a constitutional right, giving them a right that the Constitution doesn't necessarily give them. Okay. And kind of just honoring the access to justice thing, because our public defender knows what the realistic chance is that they will or won't go to jail. He knows what the plea bargains are that the court will approve and won't approve, and it can speed things along. Plus, in 30 seconds, he can tell them in a practical manner what their rights are and what they need to do to get things fixed, which I, as a judge, can't necessarily tell them, at least not until they're found guilty.
Right.
And so I appoint a former lawyer right up front, and it moves things along a little bit better. And if you look at the situation, I doubt that it's really racial. It's probably socioeconomic.
Yes, sir.
Because once a
I
person,
like him more now.
once you're looking at 3 charges on one ticket, suddenly it's going to be a lot of money, and you can get the discretion of the judge in the courtroom. That I can't delegate discretion to clerks at the window for one moving violation with no aggravating factor, no charge of no insurance or something like that. I can set up a situation where if a person wants to give up their right, you have a right to go to court, and you have a right to an arraignment.
Okay.
An arraignment is the judge saying you are charged with speeding. You don't have to give that right up. But if you come down here and say, I just want to get it over, and all I'm charged with is speeding 5 miles an hour over the limit, if you sign a waiver at the window, the clerk has designated fines for certain levels of offenses, and the individual is giving up his or her right to come into the courtroom.
Okay.
And agree to pay, and then it may or may not go on their record, depending on what their record is.
Well, that's a great segue. You talked about economic, social economic issues. So the one thing I noticed in the court is that most people who came in who had a speeding ticket, it looked as though they were. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because now I'm stereotyping, but
I'll say it.
There's a $100 fee when you suspend the driver's license. Then they have to pay for the state to reinstate that license. And I noticed in some situations the court offered to waive that, but in some situations you didn't. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Why some situations are different than others?
Well, I'm not sure that your observation is necessarily accurate.
Okay.
Because it's a more complex situation than it sounds like most of the time when people talk about it.
Okay.
Let me start by saying for several years now, our court does not suspend a person's driver's license for a failure to appear, or a failure to pay, or a failure to comply with court orders. Even though there's a statute that specifically says that a presiding judge can suspend the driver's license of someone who doesn't appear in court.
Okay.
We just don't do that anymore. And we also don't suspend a person's license if it is already suspended.
Okay.
Now,
you don't double suspend.
No, we won't. No, but that's how people get in a situation where they owe multiple charges of. Now, we have had, we will continue to have people come in with failures to appear that might be 5, 6, 7 years old, and if we dismiss a failure to appear, and we dismiss a lot of them, basically, there was a thing in the paper today about leniency court over in some other jurisdiction.
Right.
We basically do leniency court every day. We are hardly ever convicting people on failure to appear unless it's a plea bargain, and usually it's only a plea bargain to convict somebody and fine them a couple of $100 on failure to appear if they have 3 or more that are pending.
Oh,
We dismiss 2 and fine them out on 1. The law that talks about the state law that talks about or imposes a $100 reinstatement fee for driving on suspended license, the language of that law says that the state shall charge a $100 reinstatement fee for any driver's license that's suspended because of a conviction.
Okay.
Because of a conviction. So when we have a failure to appear, if we dismiss it on a plea bargain or otherwise, even if it was one that caused a suspension, if we dismiss it, we didn't convict them.
You didn't convict them. Okay.
And so we didn't.
So that would explain why.
Right.
Okay.
So that's
that
pretty
makes
much
sense.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Judge Fleming, you talked about, you mentioned that you all were going to be sitting not just in traffic court, but circuit court. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is this a first time that they've been doing this?
Well,
And where did that emanate from? Is it because of a shortage of judges?
No.
Funding?
Well,
or what was the impetus behind that?
Well, do you remember in the year 2000 we passed, the electorate of Arkansas passed something that was called Amendment 80 to the Arkansas Constitution? And Amendment 80 did 3 things. Very, very famously, it eliminated partisan judge races. It said all judge races will be nonpartisan. So you don't have Democrats and Republicans running for office. The second thing that it did that people kind of remember is it merged law and equity. It made the chancery courts and the circuit courts one. And the third thing it did was implement a unified third tier to be called district courts. And that basically started with what was already a system of municipal courts. But side by side with the municipal courts before the year 2001 was a series of courts called mayor's courts, police courts, justice of the peace courts. And those courts lost their jurisdiction gradually over a period of time, and they all went into the district courts. And one of the reasons that was done, because especially in rural parts of the state, you didn't have enough judges to go around at the circuit court level, but almost everybody had a municipal judge or a district court judge. So that the legislature, in implementing Amendment 80, starting in the year 2001, started putting in place a series of laws that allowed circuit judges to assign their overflow cases or certain types of cases to district court judges. And that was done frequently throughout the state. Pulaski County was a little bit behind the times. It's called state district court system, state district court judge system. And started off with a pilot program where you had 15 or 20, and then the next year was more, next year was more. The whole idea was that over a period of several years, we would have at least one district court in every county, elected countywide. And the district courts would all be full-time, and they'd all be state employees, and they would all be in a position to take overflow cases from the circuit. And so in Pulaski County, that's been going on for a while, but only the final portion of that kicked in on January the 1st of 2017, when the 3 Little Rock judges and I think the Maumelle and Jacksonville judge became state district court judges, and all of us got together with the circuit judges, and the circuit judges decided that they would assign us 2 days a month to hear certain types of cases that they have too many of to get on their docket. So that's why we get those 4 types of cases.
Okay, the reason I asked that question, and you're going to be doing it 2 days a month, one specific category that you're going to be dealing with that has perplexed me. Full disclosure, I was gone for 35 years, and what I think coming back looking for rental property and beginning to understand the rental laws in the state of Arkansas, which has been deemed by many national publications as the worst in America. Mm-hmm. How will you, and I heard you talk about compassion in the traffic court, how will you deal with evictions in this city when many advocates across the country are saying that what is going on in renting is just terrible, if that makes sense?
Well, first of all, let me say, it's not that I'm going to be dealing with it. I have been handling these types of cases since January the 1st of 2017.
Okay.
So this is my 17, 18, 19, 20. This is my 4th year to be doing those kinds of cases. I have very few eviction cases, but the answer to your question is you get the facts as best you can and ascertain what the facts are as honestly as you possibly can. And then you apply the law as fairly as you possibly can to meet the circumstances. I'm from 20 years of practice in real estate related law before I became a judge. I'm very familiar with the different aspects of what we generally call eviction. You have an ejectment case that used to be handleable only in circuit court, and you have an unlawful detainer case that was a different type, but both of those were essentially eviction. And some people chose to do the ejectment, and some people chose to do the unlawful detainer. And both of those were considered to be very landlord-oriented. And all I know to tell you is that every time I have a case in front of me, I take it as fairly as I possibly can, and that means holding the landlords to the standard of proof that they have to be held to, and applying the law as fairly as I can. And I haven't had any complaints about that. In fact, quite the contrary. This one particular case that I handled that was really tough, and I'd rather not get into the facts of the case, but I had to study it very, very diligently as all the facts came in. And I ruled that this couple who were being evicted from a home that they had formerly owned and had moved back into after some unusual contract that they had with a company out of Florida, I ruled that they were entitled to stay in the home. That the company did not get an immediate order of possession. Now, that didn't mean the company wasn't ultimately going to get it back. It's just that based on the way things were going up to that point, there clearly had not been, it was not clear that they had been treating these people fairly. And they had moved back into their home, and I said, I'm not going to kick you out right now. You know, you can get a final trial in 30 to 60 days, and nobody's going to go bust by virtue of leaving you there, because their claim was they needed to be there in order to preserve the value of the home, which made a lot of sense.
Hey, I got a quick question. Someone asked, what is the racial makeup of the staff?
Oh, the racial makeup of my staff. You know, that's a matter of record. Again, that's the kind of thing people would see if they came in. I'm thinking it's pretty close to 50-50, maybe 60-40.
Okay.
60-40.
Okay. Pretty good. So let me ask you this. So if you had to grade yourself as a judge over the
Well,
past-
I'm just trying to think. You know, it's tough to talk about personnel matters, but I would invite anybody to come down there and look, count.
Everybody's probably already been down
Yeah.
there and looked.
I have.
There's a lot of people that know.
I don't go to traffic court. Sorry.
They don't go down and look. They go down for
You said
I'm not-
19, I don't believe
I'm
it.
not giving free money away. Sorry, ain't happening.
So if you had to grade yourself as a judge, A to F, how would you grade yourself?
I'm not going to go A to F.
Okay.
I just don't think that's fair. I can tell you that I'm, you know, in campaigning recently, I've gotten more feedback than I normally get, and I get a good bit of feedback.
Is it positive feedback though?
The
Constructive.
Well, the feedback that I'm getting are things like, you know, you are fair and you are firm, and that's what I tell my friends, and that's from lawyers. I have lawyers who tell me I like being in your court because whenever I have a contested matter, you don't just say guilty or not guilty. You explain exactly why you're ruling. And most judges don't do that at the district court level. The lawyers give me good feedback on the fact that I explain my cases, explain the rulings. The fair and firm I'm getting more of than anything else. When I took office, I made a number of changes. I had our staff trained in customer service. Imagine that. We're going to
What year was
that was
this?
1997. I paid a professional trainer out of my own pocket to come in and do a 4-hour workshop on customer service. We're going to smile. We're going to say please. We're going to say thank you. We're going to apologize when we make a mistake. We're going to treat people like customers. And we also, another thing that I did was I imposed staggered dockets. My predecessor had all tickets due. All tickets were mandatory court, and all were due at 3:30 on Wednesday.
Okay.
So the building filled up, and there was a line into the parking lot, and everybody worked until well after dark, and it was not very efficient. I didn't do that even once.
Okay.
And Wednesday, Christmas and New Year's were both on Wednesday before I took office. So on January the 8th, my first Wednesday in office, I had 969 tickets that were all due at 3:30 on Wednesday. Well, I got the staff together 3 or 4 days, you know, first day in office, January the 2nd, I got the whole staff together with a flip chart, and I said, we ain't doing what y'all been doing on Wednesday even once. Everybody here's been here, I haven't. What is one idea from each person that could make it better? We put out a press release and said, you know, we have an unprecedentedly high number of tickets that are due. We're going to open at noon. Feel free to come early. We're not going to get it all done in one day, so feel free to take a 2-day pass and come on Friday morning. We also decided that some tickets didn't have to be mandatory, so we set it up where some people could come in, waive their right to an arraignment, plead guilty, and agree to pay a fine if it was a minor ticket. Waive their right to an arraignment, plead not guilty, and accept a trial date from the clerk. So we had only the more difficult cases coming in. The doors opened up at 12 that day. There was a steady trickle of people through the building. There was never any line outside into the parking lot. the building was empty at 5:15, and we had done 720 tickets, and we did the rest of them on Friday morning. And basically, I told the police from that point forward, I would like for you all to do staggered dockets for our plea and arraignment. If somebody gets a ticket downtown, we'll make their ticket due at 1 o'clock. If it's in the northwest precinct, make it due at 1:30. If it's in the southwest, 2 o'clock, state police, 2:30, so that we avoid the cattle call that municipal and district courts are so famous for, infamous for around the country. So we don't give the appearance of cattle calls. We did the same kind of staggered dockets for our trial days. The third thing I did was I put a speakerphone in the courtroom.
Okay.
For whatever reasons it can be used for. Sometimes if a lawyer calls and says I'm running late and he can't get through and he calls the right number, we can say, okay, we're not going to hold anybody in contempt of court if they get in touch with us.
So you mean you can call the phone and be in court, or you can just call and say, hey, I'm not going to make it to court?
Yeah, but that's not normally something that's going to happen on the speakerphone. But if I have a case where a defendant is saying, here I am, but I don't know where my lawyer is. Right. And the prosecutor says, well, I can't get the lawyer on the phone. I can call the lawyer from the courtroom.
Okay.
And say,
So you need to go to court.
And rather than just immediately, but the more important thing is, I noticed when I first took office, there would be people who would call and say, hey, Judge, I got a ticket last week, and I don't want to do anything improper, but, and the next word out of their mouth would be something improper. So I got a speakerphone, and whenever somebody would call me like that, I'd say, hold it right there, because if you tell me too much, I'll have to recuse from the case. I'm going to connect you to my supervisor, my court supervisor, and she's going to put you on our telephone docket. So whatever it is you need to tell me, you can say, and it'll be an open court in front of the prosecutor, and we can get your case resolved. It'll save you a trip. It'll save you a trip down here, but otherwise it's the same as if you were in court.
Wow,
And
most
so,
people don't know about the telephone.
Quick question.
Well, there has to be no identity issues, and we can't do it when there's a warrant for somebody's arrest, and we can't do it on suspended driver's license. Suspended driver's license charges are about 20% of our docket.
Okay.
Failures to appear is about 25% of our docket. Those are the two most frequent. I see very few contested speeding tickets as compared with the suspended license.
So let me ask you this. So you pay for the training in 97. So how many of the employees that you put through training are still employees now?
Very few, because I've been there for 23 years.
Okay.
But everybody has, people have a way of, the supervisors have a way of training their replacements.
Okay.
So they adapted to the.
But let me ask you this too before we get out of here. So everybody's been talking about the whole amnesty thing, and they said in 20 years you haven't had an amnesty program. You want to speak to that?
Who said that?
That's what they were saying from the NAACP. That during the NAACP, they said that you didn't offer. That everybody else offers an amnesty program. You never offered one in your 20
Well,
years.
first of all, with amnesty and leniency programs, my fellow judges were having a leniency program a year ago in February.
Okay.
They asked me if I wanted to join. I said, show me what you got. They told me what they were doing. I said, we do that every day.
Okay.
We're already doing more. We're already doing more in the way of leniency than anybody else in the country really is anyway. So when you all get finished with them, when they got warrants from our court, just send them on over, because we are not convicting people of failures to appear, failures to obey, and failures to comply if they come in.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I've been noticing that judges have this thing that y'all do where people come before you and you kind of like give them the business. You like tell them, I see.
Have you been in my court?
Yeah, I have.
I've been in his court.
What is it?
Well, not for a ticket.
Giving somebody the business.
Yeah, it's kind of like you make these assertions about people, and just based off of this interaction with them. I'll give you a great example. A couple of years ago, a lady and her husband and son came to court, and there was a mix-up in the letters they sent, and you kind of read them the riot act there in front of the kid, and it was just a simple mistake. And I was thinking, this is a grown man and his wife, and they're coming in with their son, and they were really upset about it. And I FOI some stuff from your office, but everybody I talked to said, hey, he's a good guy, I don't know what happened that day. But then I heard other people kind of say the same thing, that's what judges are doing. It's not just you, not to poke at you, but it's all judges who feel that when people come in their court, that they have this thing where they can say, you know.
Well, all I know to tell you is when you come in my court, I try to say, hello, Mr. Webb, how are you today? Or hello, Ms. Jones. I try to call people by name and ask how they're doing. and that's there.
Then you asked me if they have the money to pay the ticket. If they're saying that, how I know this, don't ask.
How do you know that,
It
Keisha?
wasn't me.
Oh,
It wasn't me.
I had a chance
I
to
was there
visit
with
Judge
someone.
Fleming.
I was there with someone, but I did. It was. She wasn't a minor, but it's one of my family members. She's young. She was scared. She's like, walk up there with me. So I did, and he was like, who are you? You don't have to be up here. She's fine. So I was like, okay, I'm in the front row. I'm in the front row, girl. So they talked about the ticket, and
Are you
he
talking
said,
about me?
yeah, they talked about the ticket, and then you said, do you have the money to pay? And she said no, and he set up the payment plan. He was like, okay, somebody that can talk to you about it. She was like, I thought I was gonna go to jail. And
Yeah,
she
so that's
did
what I'm
it.
saying. And it's not an
So
offer.
you're saying
So what I saw, it wasn't mean.
Yeah.
What I saw was not mean, and then when I went in there with my other friend, it wasn't mean, and my other friend, it wasn't mean.
Yeah,
You got a lot of friends that like to go
Yeah,
to
she
court.
got a lot of friends working hard.
Ex-boyfriend.
You know, I'm going to try to say something real wise here, that every case is somehow different, from a dozen that it's very similar to.
Right.
But the one thing that I realize we'll have, there are certain people in the world who do not realize it, but they always interrupt. They will not let me finish a sentence. And when somebody keeps interrupting me, one or two things are going to happen.
You get irritated. I get
I'm going to tell you that you're interrupting me, and the only reason I'm saying stuff is for your benefit.
Right.
Or I'm just going to stop and go ahead and rule on whatever is in front of me and never say anything. I try to help people get educated. Try to help them know what they need to know, and I try to help them know what it's going to take to not have this problem again. I see myself as helping people solve problems.
Well, you say you've been getting a lot of constructive feedback, so I want to give you some constructive feedback, and hopefully you'll take it to heart. It is disrespectful to me to come to your court and see all those black people. And I mean, I've been coming to your court since 2006, at least once or twice a year, just to see. I mean, picking different days, just showing up. And for me, it's really different.
How do you think a judge can ethically do something to keep?
Well, that's part of the question I'm getting ready to ask you. I just think it's crazy because it makes me feel as though black folks have some kind of criminal gene.
But you realize that I didn't issue.
No. That's not the point, Judge. That's not the point, Judge. My point is, Judge, you're sitting in court every day. At some point, don't you even think to yourself, damn, should I get some white folks every now and then? Should I have a full courtroom of white people? I mean, seriously. I'm not trying to be a butt, but I'm just saying. I mean, I come in there at different days, and I'm thinking.
Have you been in there at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday anytime recently?
No.
When we have our teenage docket. The teenage docket is generally more representative because all the teenage tickets, all the tickets for people under the age of 18, they're all mandatory court. If we went back to having all mandatory court tickets, I think you'd see something entirely different.
Think so?
And their parents have to be with them, right?
So that's part of the thing. So
We need to wrap.
Yeah, we need to wrap. Real quickly before we get out of here, give me 3 tickets that are non-mandatory. So you said speeding tickets are non-mandatory. If they're just a speeding ticket under 20.
Speeding 19 miles an hour over the speed limit and not wearing your seatbelt, 2 charges. That's not going to be mandatory. You can take it. A simple fender bender charge is careless and prohibited driving, and there's not a charge of no insurance. That's going to be non-mandatory. And let's see, if all you're charged with is having an expired tag, that's not going to be mandatory. And if you come in and show that you've got it fixed, we throw it out.
Okay.
Just pay.
So I see what you're saying. So some things are just not mandatory.
Yeah, but we do assign the public defender to everybody who has a warrant. The public defender does know to sit and work with people on financial hardship, medical hardship, and general family hardship. Okay. And we have what we call 1613-703 hearings every week. That is a section of the law that talks about putting somebody in jail for non-payment of money. And it also says that a judge can look, if a person is not willfully failing to pay and has circumstances that make it inequitable for them to pay, the judge can lower the amount, extend the time to pay, or wipe it out altogether. And we just generally wipe it out altogether. We wipe out so much money, but it's completely under the radar. Nobody knows anything about it.
All right, we've got to wrap. Hey, Judge Fleming, hey, we appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for
Thanks
letting
a
me
lot.
I love it. He just took it.
Yeah.
He took it.
It was the Robert
and I didn't even get to tell you my LeBron story on the
I
radio.
know.
Yeah, he did get the
It was the Robert and Victor show, but you did good,
No,
right?
he did good. I mean, he held his own. I thought he would. Yeah. But I learned a lot though, so I'm
You
understanding
know,
a
I
little
used
bit
to
better.
work at a station and do this kind of stuff.
No, get out of here.
No, yeah, between college and law school, I used to do sports reporting for a little AM station in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Once-
And when I wasn't on there, I was selling ads.
Really?
Once a radio person, always
Always
a radio
radio
person.
guy.
I told you. And we got to get out of here. We want to thank Judge
right.
Vic Fleming for coming in as well today.
Appreciate it, Judge.
Don't forget, join us tomorrow. It's the Friday edition. We'll probably have Cliff come down from Russellville. I'm sure Miss Keisha will be back with us as well. Of course, myself and Robert also. Don't forget, if you missed any part of the show, you can download the podcast. Just go out to any of your platforms and search Black Focus Radio. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And appreciate everybody for joining us today. Robert, you got a quote?
Hey, man, why you do that, man?
Well, I mean, we do this show every day.
You want a quote?
Yeah, give us your quote, Judge.
He'll take
Judge
it.
got his quote.
I'm quoting Anne Lamott, the author Anne Lamott. And Anne Lamott said, the only reason life works at all is not everyone in your tribe is nuts on the same day.
There you go.
I like that one.
Me too.
Keisha, you got a quote?
Thank you. I'm good. That one was great.
What you mean, you good?
That one was everything because you guys are my nuts half of the time, so that's good. I'm taking that one, Ann Lamont.
All right. Robert, we're waiting on you, my friend.
Did you get one?
You do this every day.
All right.
You just need to just write a quote down.
All
You make
else,
me
this
sick.
is
You know?
All right, here we go. James
all
Baldwin
else
again.
fails,
My
follow
man.
instructions.
All right, it says, I love America more than any other country in this world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her profusely.
And of course, since we are in the middle of election season, which a lot of people love this quote, and I've been using this quote since high school. A voteless people is a voiceless
Oh,
people.
Jesus.
A voiceless people is a defenseless people. And a defenseless people is a contradiction to democracy.
I do.
Y'all have a great day.
But see, other people need to as well.
Yeah.
And he does too. He was just trying to impress me.
Those Russian judges.
Here, this is his, I'm sorry.
Those Russian judges were trying to get me a real hard.
Why would they here? Learning? Well, I'm serious. I went with my niece, and she was very afraid.